Okay. Um, this is the things I deal with. It's been nasty things, and the reason why I make videos is because I just want to show. And matter of fact, unfortunately, I missed one thing they did to me earlier with two other kids, and those kids that hold like the flowers before the wedding. I forget, two little girls, like 3 to 4, maybe 5 years old. And I just didn't have the energy at the time to just do the same thing, because what's happening is every time they manipulate me to get these nasty reactions, I make sure to talk about it. Not because it's going to change anything. It's because these people want you to accept these manipulations, these reactions. And it's just part of the ways they break people down. It's part of how they disturb you, manipulate you. But the reality of what they do is just like I said, like I said, nothing's going to change what's going to happen to me. I'm not saying that to stop anything. It's not going to stop that. I understand. And so I know these bottom feeders wanted to do these things to me while escaping reality. They truly wanted to escape into a fantasy. And for me, it's just like, my friend, the way we are validated as target individual is things that we can't even comprehend. It seems almost magical. It seems like I feel like I became a genius because I obviously get to see the reality of things. I don't have no choice because I know me. Well, this trash in every tonality they can try to create this fantasy, even though listen to how dumbed down they have to make themselves be. They are progressive, ongoingly changing the way you react. Like they are involved in what you experience, but the humiliation of reality is just so bad. Not only themselves, they're the one making you experience these things. They're the one literally involved in manipulating you this way. Then they have to dumb themselves down. They literally have to make themselves believe that I'm going to subscribe to what they're obviously doing to me, and they have to dumb themselves down to make themselves believe that they're not doing these things to me. It's so disturbing, because then you get to find out even more. Now, I know myself. I've seen these things a million times. I did not get these reactions. You are making me have these nasty stimulations. This is a picture of one key baby. There's the other babies I wanted to show, but I was not able to take the picture. I was just too tired, like I said. And they give me stimulations. And it's nasty. Especially when it's black little girls, because that's when they start saying, no, we mapped it to you. That's how you, at some point in your childhood, that's how you experience things. Now, I know who's doing these things to me. This is not some kind of like child protectors of any sort. Matter of fact, it's going to be an interesting thing I'm going to talk about at the end, which I talked about it before. These people are not that. They're not trying to figure out who you are. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. They know who you are. They're just trying to make you accept the changes they make you experience. They're changing you and want you to accept these changes as if it's you. It's about controlling and manipulating you. It's not about figuring you out. It's over. They already know that a long time ago. It's been over on that front. They're just trying to now make you accept all these different manipulations you're forced to experience. And what you're going to hear is that they've been doing this pedophilia type of torture. And who are those people? Well, what we are, when we hear yourself say TI is target individuals, we are human subject in a program where they're utilizing this defense technology onto us. They can manipulate the brain and the body in so many ways. They play with your brain. Matter of fact, when I was looking at this baby earlier, they would just start playing with my genitals. They can play with your organs. Give me weird stimulations back and forth. And then try to make you accept. As a matter of fact, the second time, I was like, okay, I was trying to take a picture to make this video, and that, no, what we did here, we mapped it. You felt like that when you were a kid. You had this reaction at some point in your childhood. And they're like, no, there is. This is the most awkward thing that you can hear this perp say. And they like to use childlike individuals. Now that this program is run by childlike individuals, childlike individuals are involved in this program. And when it comes to these perps interacting with me via V2K, you hear mostly childlike people. Now, I'm dealing with not only this gang stalking, noise campaigns, but I'm getting the synthetic telepathy and V2K. That's why they can hook my brain to this device and manipulate my brain. It's so disgusting. And the V2K consists of people interacting with my brain. I can hear them talking to me. And sometimes it feels like it's somebody right next to you, or somebody who's just next door to you, or, when in reality it can be anywhere. It can sound like they're just across the building, because they can be anywhere. But you can hear them talking to you directly in your brain. And so immediately you hear them, once I'm experiencing these things, that now we map that there is, right? They try to say that this feeling that you're feeling, even though it's manipulated, we are making you experience a thing that you felt before. There's somewhere there, but we're bringing that up. We're doing something to have that happen, but it's coming from you. This reaction that you're having right now. So even this is the logical, like when they want to be logical, when they want, in their mind, this is like a logic way to just kind of make you accept these things. That it's somewhere, it's in you, but we're just bringing that up. We're doing something for that to come up. So they are admitting that they're changing you, they're manipulating you, but these manipulations are coming from somewhere where you experienced that before, and we're just bringing that up. Now, this sounds even retarded, because you are actually admitting that you're changing my brain. You're making me experience something that you have to manipulate me to experience. And then they're like, no, there is. They really contract these childlike individuals. They're really hiring people who have accepted to be this dumb. And sometimes they're really much adults who have accomplished so much. Who can be like, no, there is, you see. We mapped it. We made you. It's like me looking at somebody. It's like, hey, you know what? Let me go into your brain and place things around, adjust certain things around. Oh, you see that? It's because it's you. Because even though you wouldn't feel like that if you weren't in your brain doing things to you, it's there somewhere. But we just moved it around, and now you experience it. You see, there is. It's you. You understand how stupid that sounds like, right? So now this is the kind of dialogues I'm experiencing from these childlike individuals. And they truly want you to accept these things. And immediately when you put things in perspective of how stupid they sound, they start talking about, oh, you're going to lose your teeth. You see how diverging they're trying to be? I'm not saying I'm not going to lose my teeth. I'm just saying they're saying that because I'm saying things and make it understandable and nonsensical. In the sense that what you're saying to me is so nonsensical that you have to talk about my teeth. That's the kind of things that they do. Then they tell me how they're going to frame me, which is validation on my end. But these people just use whatever they can to diverge from reality. And when I'm going to be framed, I'm going to be tortured. Now, I've said that we have been validated in many ways. Been validated in many, many ways. These people that do these things to us, target individuals, they have a textbook or a handbook of doing things that is so systematic that you're going to hear what they do. You're going to hear that pedophilia type of torture is absolutely utilized in this program that is supposed to develop these technologies that are meant to be improving the ability of controlling a human being. They have done these things where they can force you to get stimulation toward children. Matter of fact, hear this.
End my life. It's somebody trying. It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind. Putting thoughts of it. Like this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people soundings or whatever they're doing.
This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my... So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing. And then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and... I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal, or it can sort of turn off the...
So, I know that this pedophilia type of tormenting has been done to others, right? I know that. But I didn't need to know that this I'm being manipulated. But now it's even more validation. And it's obvious that they do these pedophilia things to torment the target individual. But in my brain, they were like, no, there is something there. I was like, yes, there is. You are there. You are there doing these things to me. That's what's in there. It's you, in me, manipulating my brain. It's you changing who I am. That's what's there. These people are delusional. Like, it's like, no, something's there. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There is something there. The something is who's interacting with me. The things that is there is I'm being changed to be somebody I'm not. Somebody's manipulating my brain to experience something that I would not experience naturally. That's what's there. And then they try to bring up what I did as a kid. I keep bringing that up. When I was in middle school, I was 13, 14. I'm talking about 2001. I was being, when I was 13, 14, I did some dumb things to myself that they bring up. They have to exaggerate. It's like, no, but remember what you did there? It's like, I was a kid in just to turn 14 max. Between 13 and 14. I'm about to turn 14, if not already 14. And I did some dumb thing. Now, you understand a kid at that age can do impulsive things. And on top of that is just something that happens once. That happened once to show how impulsive a child is. And it's just so nasty. It's like, no, but still, you did that. There is something. You see that what you did there? It's like, you understand that if I told, do you think I'm going to be like, all of a sudden, me as a kid is me now, right? Like in the rational way, they want me to be rationalized things. Of course, I know you manipulate me to experience this. And yes, there is something. The something is you doing these things to me. And then they're like, no, but we're making you feel the way you felt when you were a kid. But first of all, I'm not a child. So you're saying that you're making me a child. Second of all, you are in my brain making me experience something that I will not experience naturally. Third of all, you just heard what they do to children. Sorry, not to children. What they make people experience toward children. They literally force you to get sexual arousals and stimulations and aim those toward children. This is something they've been doing to others. Listen, this is this Robin Duncan, right? He interviewed multiple people who are considered TIs, about 1,000. Listen to, based on what he asked all of them, what came out.
Similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
You have people who do these things to target individuals, and they're like, no, there is something. That's you see? Do you hear the patterns of what they do? And they're like, no, what we do, we mapped it to you as a kid, you see? Now, obviously, they want to agitate you, and they want you to be damn near retarded. At this point, the validation is just overwhelming, and I'm not even done there. With me, they've been trying to make themselves appear like they're anything but the reality of this is obviously a governmental entity, a massive governmental entity, obviously has to tie with DOD. The sophistication, the orchestration, the resources, the technology. This is no way. You cannot, of course, see that the government and military technology is applied onto us. The things they do to our organs, it's not like some random civilians there doing it. No, it's obvious that we're just human subjects, and the technology you're using is technology coming from the Department of Defense. But they try to do everything possible to make you believe that it's not that. Listen to this interview. Robin Dawkins, once again, talking on some podcast, saying, they have this tendency to try to create this like false reality. Listen.
So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
So they have these patterns of also trying to present themselves as something else, but this massive government doing this. And this massive government is obviously tied to not only the intelligence community, but the Department of Defense. Matter of fact, some of the things they do to us, right, as target individuals, dark energy, all of that neurotechnology, technology that can do things to you, all of that you can see in DARPA, the DARPA website on its own. Obviously, now presented the same way that we're experiencing things, in the sense that they're not saying we're using human subject to develop this technology. No, but the language is found on those websites. Direct energy weapons, microwave weapons, all of that on the website. So this is the kind of entity that obviously have DoD connections. So these things. But we also know this thing that just come out. So let me explain to you the level of humiliation these people have now. Because they make you believe that, no, what you express, you map. Matter of fact, 2 seconds ago, I saw this Dr. Umar character, and they love to use what people say to create some kind of logic in your brain. Dr. Umar is like this super pro-black person, right? He's really pro-Afro, pro-black. And there was this controversial thing that happened. The owner of the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, there was a picture of him when he was like 14 years old or so, and they saw him in some kind of rally against somewhere in the South, rally against the mixing of students, black and whites, going to the same school. I forgot the name of that. And people were saying, he was just a child, he was a 14-year-old, he was just there, and he's like, no, but when you're 14-year-old, you already, try to say that even though he was 14 years old, that's already, in his mind, and he's like, and they try to use the same things, oh, okay, you see, he said it when you're 14, it's like, go talk to a middle schooler right now, 8th grader, between 13 and 14, and tell me if that's an adult. Tell me if that's an adult. Go talk to a 13, 14-year-old kid. You're obviously going to know you talk to a child. Now, I understand why he said that. Dr. Umar is extremely pro-black, and he is a little biased. The reason why he says that is because he wants to push the agenda that this person is racist. But you can never put somebody who's 13, 14 in a category of an adult. I'm not a 13, 14-year-old. I don't think like that. And what I did as a child, a 13, 14-year-old, is what a child can do. Matter of fact, I've unfortunately, in the early stages of dealing with the CV2K and synthetic therapy, I was just so stupid to start looking it up, because I was like, no, of course, a kid, kids are kids. And of course, there's been documents, kids can do things like that and move on and never even think twice about it, especially in its impulsive moments. While these people, as they try to say, no, what you did, 13, 14, that's you. That's who you. It's not even that's you. We're mapping to you as a kid, 13 and 14 years old. We're not doing the pedophilia type of torture. That you just heard that they do that to others. Not only one or two, but almost all target individuals are forced to see some kind of child pornography in their brain. But it doesn't end there. These people have been humiliated by reality. Can you imagine entities tied to the DoD and the intelligence community telling you that you're somebody that you're not. But the somebody that you're not, these people actually have the problem of that. There's been an ongoing issue with pedophilia in those agencies, a big time issue. The DOD, let's just start with them. The DOD has been ranked, and that was so disgusting to know that, because before I was saying this without really knowing the numbers of that. I didn't know the true data. I was like, yeah, like anybody who comes up with it's like, this is very, who would come up with a tactic to break people down using pedophilia? And I was like, you guys sold your soul to pedophiles. I didn't know how much I was right. The DOD were ranked 19th out of almost 3,000. I think it was 2,875 or something like that, around that number. Basically, rounded to 2,900. 19 out of 2,900 in regard of top child porn sharing between peer-to-peer utilizing the DoD network. Now, I don't know if I said it correctly, but listen to that. Let me just listen to that exactly.
Watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protectives, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace, and one we must fight head-on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to Child Pornography Watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018.
This is how disgusting it is. 2018. These entities mapping you, saying, now we mapped it to you when you were a kid. This is the entities that manipulate us in this disgusting way. Rewind your brain. You heard the tech. You heard. I'm not speaking for these people who said that they do this pedophilia type of torture. This is the same people who call themselves target individuals, saying the same thing. But for me, they're like, no, with you, what we're doing is like, it was somewhere in you, and we brought that up. Coming from people who do the pedophilia type of torture, but happen to also work for entities where pedophilia is such an issue, they keep getting ranked as top tier of child porn sharing entities using DoD internet network. It's so nasty. Matter of fact, they tried to pass this bill that didn't pass. Look how awkward it is. The bill is called S1413. They're saying this is where they mapped it to. I mean, when I'm 14, 13. Isn't that awkward? It doesn't end there. We also know that it's not only the DoD. Obviously, the DoD is the resources. That's where you get this kind of funding. Has to come from massive government, and there's nothing more resourceful in regard financial than the Department of Defense. We talk about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billion, getting close to 900 billion. No other entity has the ability to do that. But other entities in the intelligence community has been working in this kind of field, specifically the CIA. And this BuzzFeed article comes out in 2021, I believe, December 2021, calling out the fact there's so much pedophilia. Listen to the things that this BuzzFeed article was calling out. The first, when you go hear about the 2-year-old and 3-year-old, this is a CIA agent. Listen to that.
I mean, Kubark manual. And they do good cop, bad cop interrogation called Jeff and Mutt, and they go right through the list, right? Just textbook. So whoever the handlers are on the other side of this synthetic telepathy, they're following the handbook perfectly.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee per
sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him.
To be clear, those are CIA agents.
charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number 1, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number 2, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind?
You heard that. You heard the patterns. As I was hearing this, they were trying to create battles in my brain, and I hear some church like right in hell. Do you understand the reality of what they're part of? You heard others saying that they do the pedophilia type of torture. So you have pure validation that not only they do these nasty systematic things to others, but the entities running this program are filled with pedophiles. That they even tried to pass a bill called S1413. But you ask yourself, do you think this program tortured children? Of course they torture children. These piece of shits implement this technology onto children. They utilize this technology, this defense technology, onto kids, babies. These pieces of shit are the lowest of the low. But listen to that.
Speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated, right about 2 months straight, and that's also when they also has Down syndrome. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. One session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair.
My children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
I too believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today. There is new work for the Commission for Human Subject Protection on our shores. And please give us a dramatic response, Susan. And please give us a congressional hearing. Thank you.
So you listen to what they do. Now, let me just summarize what you just heard. You heard testimonials of multiple individuals addressing that they do this kind of manipulation that are pedophilia-centric. One woman experiencing pedophilia type of torture. Another trans woman saying that they're manipulating her thoughts, having thoughts of pedophilia. Another woman saying that they've done this program perversion, which they've aimed, which consists of sexual sensation and stimulations towards young people and children. Then you hear Robin Dawkins surveying 1,000 individuals who will call themselves target individuals, and almost all of them are saying that they experience child porn implanted in their mind. You also heard a woman saying they do this pedophilia type of dreams. But it doesn't end there. Then you hear that obviously this program comes from some kind of massive government. Obviously DOD, obviously intelligence community, which we CIA. Then you hear Main Street of you hear how those DOD entity networks have been having pedophilia issue, being ranked by Child Protective Services as top tier network, meaning that using internet network to share child porn peer-to-peer utilizing DOD network, internet network. These things it's so disgusting. I didn't bring up back in the days in 2007 or 6, they had this random investigation on this website, this child porn website, where you people could subscribe to it and pay a monthly fee. There's this thousands of people working in the Pentagon apparently, or close or something like that were involved in this. Then you hear the intelligence community, CIA, has had the issue itself. People getting caught with child porn using government devices, CIA government devices, downloading thousands of child porn, doing things to 2-year-old and 6-year-old. CIA agents, others just child porn again, and then having child porn where a mother filmed their children in this child porn and then gave it to this CIA agent. Okay. So do I think that they're doing something to me? Do I think that the people involved in this are doing something to me to make me have these reactions? Oh, if you don't understand that there's been consistency in regard of individuals saying they manipulate my thoughts, listen to this really quickly.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just...
You heard. Clearly, the same person who dealt with the pedophilia type of torture is saying, I deal with something called V2K, where my thoughts, my perceptions are manipulated. And these people want me to somehow, it's like, no, we're not doing anything. It's you, we mapped it to you as a kid. You see, remember what you did as a kid? It's like, yes, I know what kids are capable of doing. You tell me that 13, 14-year-old kids aren't able to do stupid things like that, impulsive things like that. Of course they can. That's what a child is capable of doing. Maybe if it was a pattern of that, it would be different. But to a kid who does something so impulsive that they don't even remember any of that immediately, because it's such an impulsive thing that just means nothing to them. Of course, looking back as an adult, I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? But I understand that. Go talk to a 13, 14-year-old, see how the state of mind is. Of course, there's some more mature than others, but kids are kids. They're going to do some stupid things, especially if it's a stupid thing that happens once. And you can never tell me that you're going to try to make somebody think like a child. And that's when things should make sense. While they do these things, let me repeat what you just heard, just before I wrap up. You heard testimonials of people who call themselves target individuals or identify in this fashion, saying that, one, there's a woman who's saying, they make me smell things that are not there, like baby powder, and then do this pedophilia type of torture. Pedophilia type of torture. Two, this trans woman who's no longer with us, in 2011, I think, say, I know there's people around me, and they're doing these things where they force me to think in these pedophilia ways. Try to change who I am. You heard that. Then you heard this woman saying that they are forcing me to get sexual stimulations, program perversions, and aiming toward children. Then you hear this man saying that when he interviewing 1,000 target individuals, he's saying almost all of them are saying that they make me have these child porn thoughts implanted in my brain, imaginations. Then you hear this man saying that this weapon can force you to have sexual stimulations. I have no tie to these people, but they're saying these things. Then you hear that obviously they have these tactics of try to make it seem like this is anything but this mass government doing this. But it's just like this cult of satanic cult of whatever, like Russian government, Chinese government. Try to make it seem like it's anything but a massive government. But then finding out those massive government that he's talking about, from DOD to CIA, have had so much issue with pedophilia. Matter of fact, you heard that Child Protective Services have ranked the DOD network for being a top tier in regard of network that is one of the most shared child porn network between peer to peer. So employees within the DOD are using employee networking, internet networking, to share their child porn. From the Pentagon to wherever else. To the point where they tried to pass a bill called S1413. Awkwardly enough, that's where they say they mapped me to. That's my brain when I was 14, 13. That's where they saw this thing that I'm experiencing today. S1413. Check it out. It doesn't end there. The intelligence community has also had a lot of issues, specifically CIA. You hear the different nastiness from CIA agent. Sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. This man just got fired. Then no prosecution, nothing, just fired. That means he's back in the streets. Whatever happens, so happens. Other caught with thousands of child porn. Some of them, nothing happens to them, not even firing, nothing. Child porn fun. If you go to that BuzzFeed article, you'll see that one CIA agent just left his computer unattended and they start seeing some child porn on his computer. And you know what he says? Like, oh, you know what? Somebody changed my computers overseas or something like that. Somebody. Then you hear at the end that they sexually torture children. You heard the 7-year-old autistic child being suffocated, sexually torturing her. A 4 and 5-year-old Down syndrome, two kids with Down syndrome, sexually tortured. A 3-year-old boy, sexually tortured. A 3-week-old baby, torture to the point where she gets sick. They've been telling me I'm going to have some rashes and because they do these things. This is what this 3-week-old was dealing with. Then you hear a mother with her young child being tortured by Department of Defense Technology. Now you understand what kind of shit these people are, right? So when they do these manipulations, can you imagine them trying to say, no, there's something. Yes, there's something. And this something is you guys doing these things to me. And by the way, with me, they've been trying to create this psyop, like you heard Robin Duncan doing these things where they create this psyop. For me, they had this psyop where their agenda was supposed to make me believe these manipulations. Listen to this.
Occasion, I was told I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she's going to be shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is, with the Voices Girl, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them? Basically, you know, they call me retarded bitch and all of this here, but I was top of my class in everything that I did. You know, every class I took, I excelled academically.
So, even these psyops are full of shit. There's women doing this thing to women. Sorry, there's female doing that to women. It's so nasty. Matter of fact, they do these things so nasty that certain target individuals lose their mind and end up causing mass shooting. The last mass shooting that happened this year was the largest. Happened on October 25th or 26th. I'm not sure. One of those days. On that day, a man killed 18 people. Listen to this.
This week, from New York Times, I'm Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily. Today, the mass shooting that occurred in May last week, killing 18 people, was the country's deadliest of the year. It may also have been one of the most avoidable.
Teenage son go to a school resource officer, and the school resource officer calls down a sheriff's deputy to speak with the family. And in that interview, the teenage son and the ex-wife say that he has started to hear voices. He started to be increasingly paranoid. His reserve unit to West Point, New York, for an annual training exercise. And there's a very concerning incident that takes place. They're all hanging out together at a motel, and he starts accusing them of calling him a pedophile. This is one of his paranoid delusions that comes up repeatedly. He shoves one.
So you hear that.
And everyone is just...
You hear this largest mass shooting, which happened in October 25th, I think 25th or 26th, where this man started hearing voices and was thinking that people calling him a pedophile. Do you understand this is the things they do to a lot of target individual? Matter of fact, it's like, oh, you are a pedophile. After the humiliation and reality that they're pedophiles are the entities empowering this trash to do what they do to us. That it gives them these incentives to participate in what they do to us. In every ways, I've been validated. And what they say that no, there is. Yes, there's absolutely is. There's overwhelming is. Things that there's obviously there is plenty that validates that these people have manipulated people, target individuals in these disgusting pedophilia ways. And you hear this trash to counter that. It's like, oh, he's gonna rape you. It's like they try to diverge because you just heard what I said. Let's start from the beginning. Summarize for one last time. The first testimonials were 3 women, actually 2 women and 1 trans woman. One called Mariana. She says that they do these manipulations, right? And she also talk about voice to skull, which is the ability to manipulate the brain and make an individual have thoughts, perceptions, and reactions that are manipulated. She said they made her smell baby powder, and after that made her have what she called pedophilia type of torture. Then there's this trans woman who literally said, trying to change who I am. They're trying to change who I am, implanting pedophilia thoughts. And she thinks that the people around her are doing that via some kind of weapons or something like that. Then there is this woman in North Florida who said that they were doing this thing where they're forcing her to have sensations, stimulations. She called it the program perversion. And they start aiming that. Initially it was toward her dog. When she was like playing with the dog, they start giving her a sensation, a stimulation. But then they started doing that and aimed that toward young people and children. This is the first testimonials. But then you hear a man that talked to multiple 1,000 or so target individuals, and they almost all of them, when asking the questions, it's like, what have you experienced? One of the things they do is like they implant child porn in my brain, meaning they do this pedophilia type of torture. And then you hear somebody say that one thing that this technology can do is can force somebody to get sexual arousals. The technology has the ability to create sexual arousals onto the target individual. Then, to show that obviously this program is run by governmental entity, a massive governmental entity like the DOD, and obviously intelligence community are involved like the CIA. But they have these tactics of trying to make you believe as a target individuals, create a bubble where we are everything but this massive government. And this is done to try to confuse the target individual, to make that target individual believe that this is something else, right? They create these storylines. And then you find out that the DOD and the CIA and other intelligence community entities have had issue with pedophilia. DOD, not too long ago, 2018, were being ranked as top tier in regard of child porn. Child protective services that you heard were ranking them as a top tier in regard of a network where some of the most child porn is being shared within this DOD network, internet DOD network, using DOD devices. So nasty. But not only the DOD, but even the CIA and the other intelligence community entities have had issues with this kind of pedophilia issues. Matter of fact, BuzzFeed article comes out with an article in 2021 saying there's been a pattern of those entities, specifically the CIA, with pedophilia. And nothing is happening. Every once in a while they fire somebody. There's some CIA agent that was doing something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. All he got fired. Not prosecution, nothing. He's back in the street. They know he did something to a 2-year-old and 6-year-old. Other would having child porn. Even the nasty part, they were having child porn, but they got this child porn from a mother that was filming their children in this child porn and gave it to this CIA agent. Then others have just thousands of child porn on the computer, typical child porn stuff that they have. And somebody say at the end, it's like, there's so many pedophiles. So many pedophiles. Why are they letting so many? And I thought he was exaggerating. I thought he was just saying too much. But apparently it's true. There's a lot of pedophiles in these agencies. Even Child Protective Services is calling that out. And then to add to it, because they're like, no, well, you pay for what you did as a kid. A dumbass middle schooler who did some dumb thing. In the sense that they even try to exaggerate what I did as a kid. As a child. 13, 14. By the way, the bill that was trying to stop this issue with child porn being shared within this Department of Defense networking is called S1413. Do you understand the reality? And they're like, no, okay, so with what you're experiencing today, we're just mapping to you when you were 14, 13 or something like that. Well, actually, they even go younger. Sometimes they go as young as 9 years old. This is so nasty. And then, to add to the nastiness, these technologies, this program is not only men and women who are being put in this program. Children, too, are targeted. They are torturing children. You heard what they did to a 7-year-old, to a 5-year-old, 7-year-old with autism, 4 and 5-year-old with 4 and a 5-year-old with Down syndrome, and a 3-year-old boy sexually tortured. All 4 of them sexually tortured. And then you hear a 3-week-old being tortured in these disgusting ways, causing her to have rashes, and they thought she was dying. No, she was done dying. They were just torturing her, and they do these things where they can make you feel ill and then even fix the ailment, because we're guinea pigs to this program. A 3-week-old. And then you hear a mother with her young child took out of both of them being these guinea pigs that they've damaged physically and mentally. Her young child and her being tortured. And then this trash try to present themselves as this like femme fatale feminine. You heard this woman saying there's a lot of females involved in that. But not even to end this, they even push people to kill. These things they make us experience, this manipulation can push a man or even a woman to lose their mind and end up killing. You have aggression because you know you're being manipulated, or you hear these things about you that they want you to accept. This man was being called a pedophile. It's like you are a pedophile, calling him a pedophile. Via V2K, he lost his shit, killed 18 people. Largest mass shooting of this year, and there's a lot of mass shooting this year. This is the things they say to me. It's like, yeah, are pedophiles. No. You're pedophiles, you heard them. They keep getting ranked as top tier. One man saying the amount of child porn I see is unbelievable when I look at the employees' computers. From the DOD, from the Pentagon. So yes, there is a consistent pattern that not only they do the pedophilia type of torture, not only they do harmful things to children, but the entities running this program are filled with pedophiles. And this has consistently been shown that way. So yes, there is something. And this something is this trash. It's these bottom feeders doing these things to us target individuals. To never identify with the manipulations. Because there's something. And there's something has been consistently shown. And humiliated. Now I'm awaiting whatever they're going to do to me. They tell me how they're going to frame me. Of course, how they're going to frame me. What's the most consistent way they do things? In a pedophilia ways. They're nasty bottom feeders.